quantum opening and invitation. As we begin this journey together, I invite you to pause and quiet the noise within, as though opening a window to the infinite. There is a music that resonates at the very heart of the universe, a melody so subtle that ordinary ears cannot detect it, yet the soul recognizes it instantly. Every atom vibrates, every star pulses, and every thought echoes as part of a vast and invisible symphony. It is within this space of contemplation, suspended between the silence of the mind and the eternal call of awareness, that we now meet. But before we venture deeper, allow me to share something essential. If this message touches you in any way, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. This is not simply a digital action. Through the lens of quantum physics and metaphysics, each conscious choice generates a field of expansion. The small act of clicking is like tossing a stone into a still lake. Ripples spread outward, resonating, reaching others across space and time. Your gesture becomes a pathway, opening doors for this knowledge to arrive in more hearts and awaken more minds. When you subscribe, you are not merely preparing to receive future content. You are stepping into something greater. You actively participate in a vibrational network that overflows with meaning. Picture it. Hundreds, thousands of consciousnesses connected by the same thread of learning, of curiosity, of awakening. This is the living power of co-creation. You're not just absorbing a message. You are igniting a link in a chain that transforms the collective. Your presence here matters. It is part of this unfolding change. In this shared space, we will be like travelers aboard the same ship, crossing oceans filled with mystery. Each segment of this narrative will appear like an island emerging at dawn, at first distant, veiled in mist, but gradually revealing its beauty and purpose. Our path is not solely scientific, nor is it only spiritual. It is the bridge that unites the two, where reason and intuition join hands to illuminate something larger than either could express alone. Today, we will speak of the hidden music of the universe, a song that vibrates across invisible strings, sustaining galaxies as surely as it sustains the very thoughts you are holding now. Physics names it the fundamental vibration. Metaphysics knows it as the breath of creation. What may appear distant and unreachable is, in truth, profoundly intimate. Every note that vibrates among the stars finds an echo within you, reminding you that the cosmos and your own inner life are inseparably intertwined. And so, with this awareness, we walk forward together. Allow yourself not only to understand, but to feel. Imagine that each word you hear is not simply sound, but a particle, a wave, an energy brushing gently against your invisible field. As you listen, you are already changing. And as you change, the universe itself shifts with you. For in the end, you are not separate from it. You are the living expression of this cosmic music, a melody that has never ceased playing and never will. Humanity's search for the meaning of the cosmos. From the very first moments of humanity, the star-filled sky has been more than just a backdrop. It has been both mirror and mystery. The firelight of ancient bonfires reflected in curious eyes that sought answers in the vast expanse above, And from that gaze arose questions that would echo across centuries. Where did we come from? Where are we going? What holds all of this together? With every generation, the search for meaning within the cosmos has been renewed, and in every upward glance has lived the same spark of wonder that still accompanies us today. Philosophers of antiquity spoke of essence, substance, or logos, the hidden principle that weaves reality together. Poets gave mythical names to the stars, transforming constellations into living stories that guided memory and imagination. Scientists, across the ages, built mathematical bridges and experiments that peeled back the veils of the universe. Yet all, without exception, shared the same unease. Reality could not be mere chance. It seemed to move in rhythm with an invisible order, as though dancing to a silent symphony we could only partially hear. And in this cosmic dance, we begin to realize that humanity's search has never been only for the universe out there, but also for the universe within ourselves. Every discovery in the macrocosm has carried with it a reflection in the microcosm of human consciousness. When Galileo first lifted his telescope to the heavens, he opened not only the sky but also a window into the mind. When Newton described forces and falling bodies, he was not just speaking of apples and planets. He was also describing the unseen cycles of human life, where gravity pulls us down, but vision invites us upward. What is most fascinating is that nearly every scientific breakthrough has been born from a question that was, at its core, almost metaphysical. Why does light exist? What is time? Could space truly be infinite? These inquiries were more than formulas or equations. They were acts of courage by consciousness itself. To ask a question is to create a sacred emptiness, a space into which the universe must eventually respond. That is why every cosmic search is, simultaneously, a search for the soul. Perhaps you have felt this in your own quiet moments. On nights when you looked into the sky and the mind seemed to dissolve into stillness, there arose a feeling of belonging that no words could fully capture. It was more than contemplation, it was resonance, as though something deep within you whispered that you have never been separate from the stars. That experience, simple and common yet also extraordinary, is the root not only of philosophy and spirituality, but also of modern physics itself. Today, when we speak of quantum physics or metaphysics, we are not inventing something new. We are simply giving fresh language to an ancient longing. The search for the meaning of the cosmos has always been, at its core, the search for ourselves. When we look outward, we are in truth also looking inward. And perhaps this is the greatest secret of all. The answers we chase among galaxies and atoms are the same answers pulsing within our own hearts, waiting patiently to be heard. The dialogue between metaphysics and physics. But for a long time, many believed that science and metaphysics were moving in opposite directions, one bound tightly to the rigor of numbers, formulas, and experiments, and the other surrendering itself to intuition and the unseen. Yet when we look more closely, we discover that both disciplines drink from the very same source: humanity's deep need to understand reality in its fullness. Science asks how, while metaphysics asks why. And when these two voices meet, the picture of mystery they draw becomes far more complete. Modern physics, especially quantum theory, has revealed that reality is not composed of fixed, solid blocks, but of dynamic, vibrating fields, unstable patterns of potential that only crystallize into something when observed. Metaphysics, across centuries, has maintained a similar idea, that consciousness is not an accessory to reality, but a structuring force within it. Today, science stands uncomfortably close to this same conclusion, and the supposed boundary that once divided them begins to blur. Perhaps each discipline is, in truth, a key that helps unlock the other. Consider the seemingly simple act of observing a particle in a quantum experiment. Mathematics shows us that before observation, the particle exists as multiple overlapping possibilities. It is only through the act of observation that it collapses into one defined state. This mirrors the metaphysical vision that consciousness actively shapes reality. Translated into everyday life, the lesson is striking. What do you choose to observe in yourself each day? Whatever receives your attention grows, takes shape, and becomes your lived experience. This ongoing dialogue between science and metaphysics also comes alive through their metaphors. Physics speaks of the collapse of the wave function. Metaphysics speaks of the manifestation of thought. Physics measures energy in joules and equations. Metaphysics perceives energy as vibration, resonance, and frequency. What for the physicist is a mathematical formula becomes, for the seeker, a lived and intimate experience. They are two languages describing the same invisible phenomenon, one analytical, the other poetic, both illuminating different facets of the same truth. History itself shows us that many scientific discoveries were born from what can only be described as metaphysical intuition. Einstein, imagining himself riding alongside a beam of light, was not initially solving equations. He was entertaining a vision, a dream of the mind. Newton, watching an apple fall, was not merely noticing fruit. He was wondering about the hidden forces that govern both the apple's descent and the moon's orbit. Intuition came first. The equation followed, translating into symbols what the spirit had already intuited. And so, we can affirm that physics and metaphysics are not rivals locked in conflict, but partners in a greater dance. One provides structure, the other meaning. One calculates, the other inspires. Together, they reveal that the universe is neither a blind mechanical system nor a purely subjective projection. It is a living work, responsive to human perception. And when you come to see this clearly, you realize that your life is not outside this dance at all. You are both dancer and music at the same time. The dance of light and matter. Light has always captivated humanity's imagination. It is at once intangible and present, mysterious and indispensable. Physics teaches us that light behaves both as a wave and as a particle, embodying a paradoxical dual nature that continues to challenge our understanding. Metaphysics reminds us that light is more than a physical phenomenon. It is a symbol of spirit, of clarity, and of awakened consciousness. When we bring these perspectives together, we begin to see light not only as a messenger of the cosmos, but also as a reflection of what shines within us. Matter and light engage in a secret choreography. Matter absorbs, bends, reflects, and transforms light. Light in turn reveals the existence of matter, shapes colors, and outlines the visible world. This interplay teaches us that reality is never fixed, but the result of constant interactions. In our own lives, the same pattern holds true. We are molded by what we take in and shaped by what we reflect back. What we allow to enter our inner field, whether thoughts, emotions, or influences, defines what we ultimately radiate into the world. In quantum physics, light pushes the boundaries of our understanding even further. In the famous double-slit experiment, light behaves as a wave when it is unobserved, but collapses into particle form when measured or observed. This simple yet profound detail defies common sense and invites us to ask, if light itself responds to our observation, how much more might life respond to the way we choose to perceive it? Every gaze, every interpretation, is a creative act that redraws the contours of our experience. From a metaphysical perspective, light has always been considered the first manifestation of the creative word. Let there be light is more than symbolic. It is the declaration that order has emerged from chaos. Light inaugurates reality, connects dimensions, and reveals what was hidden. When we speak of moments of insight, we often say, "A light turned on within me." This is no coincidence. Our language encodes the same cosmic truth. Inner clarity and outer illumination are simply two faces of the same principle. Consider a practical example. Think of how life changes when you shed light on a difficult situation through awareness. A conflict may appear unresolvable when viewed only through the darkness of judgment or resentment. But when you bring the light of empathy to it, the shape of the problem shifts. Edges soften, new possibilities emerge, and hidden pathways become visible. Just as light reveals contours the eye could not otherwise see, consciousness reveals solutions that once seemed invisible. Here, physics and everyday life converge in perfect resonance. Therefore, when we speak of the dance between light and matter, we are not only describing physical phenomena, we are also reflecting on ourselves. We are matter that shines, consciousness that bends and reflects, beings who absorb and radiate. The paradox of light, sometimes wave, sometimes particle, lives within us as well. At times we are solid and heavy, anchored in density. At other times we are fluid, subtle and expansive. To recognize this duality is to take a step closer to the harmony that sustains the cosmos. A harmony that whispers through both light and life. The silence of the void and the invisible energy. When we hear the word void, we almost always associate it with absence, with nothingness. Yet modern physics reveals that emptiness is not an inert desert, but a pulsating field of potential. The so-called quantum vacuum is filled with latent energy, with particles that flicker into existence and vanish again within fractions of a second. It is a silence heavy with possibilities, a fertile backdrop where everything that exists today once resided as invisible potential, waiting to be born. Metaphysics has long intuited this same truth by describing the void as a creative matrix. For the ancient sages, nothingness was never true non-existence. It was a fertile womb out of which all forms could arise. The silence of the void was regarded as sacred, because within it rested the very source of creation itself. What science now measures as quantum fields or dark energy, spiritual philosophy has for centuries described as the eternal breath, sustaining all that is. This invisible energy, though beyond direct touch, governs the vast majority of the universe. Physics now estimates that nearly 95% of everything that exists is composed of dark matter and dark energy, both unseen, both elusive. What we call concrete reality represents only a thin fraction of the total. This proportion carries a profound lesson. The invisible not only exists, it sustains the visible. And in the same way, within us, it is often the internal, the silent, and the subtle forces that truly guide and govern more than what appears on the surface. Think of a practical example. A moment when you had to make a life-changing decision. Often, clarity does not arise from external data or logical lists, but from an inner stillness, a quiet intuition that surfaces like a whisper. That invisible force, though intangible, carved a very real path in your life. In the same way, the energy of the cosmic void shapes galaxies, fuels stars, and orchestrates the delicate dance of atoms. The unseen is not separate from reality. It is the very root from which the seen emerges. And it is remarkable to notice that both physics and spirituality invite us to value what cannot be immediately measured. Science acknowledges that most of the cosmos is still a mystery. Metaphysics insists that life only gains meaning when we embrace that mystery instead of resisting it. The void, therefore, is not absence, but invitation. It calls us to accept that not everything must be visible to be real, and not everything must be explained in order to be true. By recognizing the power of the invisible, we begin to cultivate trust. Trust in life, trust in the unfolding flow, trust that there are forces larger than ourselves carrying us forward. The void stops being a threat and becomes an embrace. What once felt like absence transforms into promise, and silence itself, instead of frightening us, is revealed to be a music not yet begun. A song already vibrating at the heart of the universe, waiting for the right moment to rise into audibility. The metaphor of music: strings, vibration, and consciousness. String theory in physics offers us an image that resonates deeply with metaphysics, the vision of the universe as music. Instead of rigid building blocks of matter, it suggests that vibrating strings at different frequencies give rise to everything that exists. Just as a violin can play countless notes from the same string, the cosmos generates particles, forces, and forms from primordial vibrations. At our very core, we are not static matter but invisible music reverberating through space and time. Metaphysics has echoed this same insight for thousands of years. In the ancient Vedas, it was said that the universe was born from a primordial sound, the sacred Om, a vibration that sustains all things. In mystical traditions of the West, there was also the belief that God sang the world into being. This intuition, now mirrored in scientific hypotheses, reveals that there is no true division between science and spirit. Both are listening, each in its own way, to the same universal orchestra. When we begin to think in terms of vibration, life itself becomes more understandable. Everything vibrates. The flower unfolding its petals, the heart beating in our chest, the words we release into the air. Even our thoughts carry frequency. When we dwell in fear or anger, we vibrate in heavier tones. When we cultivate gratitude or love, our frequency rises. Science measures vibrations in hertz, while spirituality perceives them as states of consciousness. Two different languages pointing to the same underlying reality. In practical terms, this metaphor can reshape the way we live. When you wake in the morning, you have the choice to tune yourself like an instrument, to breathe deeply, to express gratitude, to set your intention for the day. That choice is like striking the first note of the melody your life will play in that moment. And as in an orchestra, your vibration does not affect only you. It ripples outward, influencing those around you. People nearby sense your frequency, environments shift, and even circumstances seem to respond differently when harmony is present. Now, imagine a concert where every musician plays out of tune. The result is chaos, harsh, fragmented, and difficult to hear. Yet when each musician aligns with the same rhythm and harmony, the music transforms into something powerful and beautiful. Humanity functions in the same way. When individuals vibrate at dissonant frequencies, we generate social noise, conflict, and imbalance. But when we learn to tune our awareness to love, compassion, and wisdom, we become instruments in a greater orchestra that reveals the deeper harmony of the universe itself. This metaphor invites us to realize that we are not passive spectators, but active musicians in this cosmic symphony. Your inner state is not irrelevant. It sets the tone of the music the universe hears from you. To tune yourself to what is true, just, and beautiful is to consciously participate in creation itself. You are both string and melody, note and interpreter. And every choice you make becomes a sound that echoes into eternity, adding your unique vibration to the song that never ends. The unified field and the echo of the human mind. For decades, modern physics has searched for what is often called a theory of the unified field, an elegant equation capable of bringing together all the fundamental forces of nature under one framework of law. Metaphysics, however, has spoken of this unity since antiquity, describing an invisible fabric that connects everything that exists. When we look closely, we begin to see that both are pointing toward the same essence, a single, indivisible field that pulses behind every atom, every star, and even behind every thought that arises in the human mind. This unified field is not only a theoretical construct, but something we can actually feel in lived experience. There are moments when the sense of separation simply dissolves. When you gaze into another's eyes and feel as if you are looking at yourself, or when an unlikely coincidence reveals a subtle order woven through life. What science describes as quantum entanglement, metaphysics recognizes as synchronicity. Two different languages describing the same hidden truth of connection. When two particles remain mysteriously linked across cosmic distances, it is as though the universe itself is whispering, "Separation is only an illusion." The same applies to our own thoughts and emotions. Whatever we emit in consciousness reverberates into fields far beyond our perception. A single word spoken with genuine love can travel unseen, softening a distant heart, altering a choice, even reshaping a destiny. The echo of the human mind knows no borders. In practical terms, this means that we are never isolated. Each mental choice, each inner intention, is already a silent dialogue with the greater field that surrounds and sustains us. To cultivate higher states of consciousness, then, is more than personal care. It becomes an act of service to the whole. By harmonizing your inner field, you contribute to the greater harmony of the world. Like an instrument being tuned, your vibration helps align the larger symphony of humanity. Consider the effect of collective meditation. Scientific studies have shown that when groups gather with focused intention, measurable reductions in violence and social unrest occur in certain regions. The field itself responds. This reveals something profound. The human mind is not merely a receiver, but also a transmitter. And when many consciousnesses align with the same frequency, their resonance multiplies, producing a power capable of shaping the external world. Thus, to understand the unified field is also to understand our responsibility within it. We are not merely spectators of cosmic forces, we are co-authors. Every thought is like a stone cast into the lake of the universe, and its ripples never cease expanding outward. Recognizing this power should not create fear, but awareness. For when we know that we are part of this field, we can choose to vibrate in ways that contribute to the greater harmony sustaining all of creation. Practical applications. How to vibrate in harmony. Knowing that the universe itself vibrates is inspiring, but it is only in practice that this knowledge transforms into lived wisdom. To vibrate in harmony does not mean living without challenges. It means learning how to align your awareness even in the middle of chaos. Just as a musician carefully tunes their instrument before stepping onto the stage, we too must tune our minds and hearts each day, so that the melody we emit is not noise, but true harmony. One of the simplest and most effective ways to align your vibration is through conscious breathing. Inhale deeply. Hold the breath for a brief moment, and exhale slowly, allowing the rhythm to settle into your body. This simple cycle calms the nervous system, relaxes the body, and creates space for inner clarity. With only a few minutes of practice, the restless chatter of the mind quiets, and the heartbeat seems to find a gentler rhythm. This exercise can be especially powerful before making an important decision, at the beginning of your day, or in the quiet just before sleep. Another powerful practice is active gratitude. It is not merely thinking grateful thoughts, but expressing gratitude with words and concrete gestures. When you give thanks for something simple, the taste of water, the smile of a stranger, or the stillness of a morning, you shift the entire frequency of your field. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a vibrational key that unlocks invisible doors, creating an atmosphere where new and positive experiences can flourish. Sound itself is also a direct ally in elevating vibration. Listening to music that stirs the soul, chanting mantras, or even repeating empowering phrases can transform your inner environment. The universe is, in essence, music, and by bringing intentional sound into your daily rhythm, you synchronize yourself with the larger cosmic orchestra. Try repeating a simple word, like peace or love, either silently or aloud, over and over. Notice how the atmosphere within and around you begins to shift into greater harmony. The practice of observation is equally essential. Whatever you choose to focus on gains strength in your life. When you focus on fear, fear grows. When you focus on trust, trust expands. This is both physics and metaphysics. The collapse of the quantum wave function shows us that reality depends on the act of observation. So instead of pouring energy into repetitive, heavy thoughts, choose to notice beauty, to lean into hope, and to pay attention to the subtle signs life offers you each day. Finally, remember that vibrating in harmony is never a solitary effort. Just as instruments influence one another in an orchestra, so too do people, environments, and even the content we consume shape our frequency. Spending time with uplifting people, being in nourishing environments, and choosing to engage with messages that inspire can raise your resonance almost effortlessly. Even something as simple as sharing a moment of silence with another person can align your vibration with higher states. To choose your environment is, in truth, to choose your music. The ethics of awakening, using knowledge with purpose. Throughout this journey, we have come to see that understanding the universe is inseparable from understanding our own essence. Yet every form of knowledge carries with it a profound responsibility. If consciousness truly has the power to shape reality, then every thought, every emotion, and every action becomes like a seed cast into the infinite field. The ethics of awakening means recognizing that we cannot plant anything, words, attitudes, intentions, without also taking responsibility for the fruits that will eventually grow from them. Physics reminds us that nothing is ever lost. Everything transforms. Energy released into the world continues to travel outward, resonating in expanding waves. In a similar way, metaphysics teaches that every intention leaves an imprint upon the fabric of existence itself. This calls us to pause and ask, what are we leaving behind in the world? Are our words healing or wounding? Are our actions building up or tearing down? True awakening is not just opening our eyes to truth, but learning how to walk in that truth with coherence, humility, and compassion. To use knowledge with purpose means embracing our role as conscious co-creators. It is not about manipulating reality for personal gain or bending the universe to our will. Instead, it is about aligning ourselves with the larger harmony that sustains life. When we choose to vibrate with love, it is not simply a private feeling. It becomes a decision that radiates outward, influencing relationships, environments, and even the collective atmosphere. Purpose, then, is to serve as a channel for the forces that nourish life in its fullness. Think of a practical example, a situation filled with conflict. The instinctive response might be to react with aggression, to add noise and escalate chaos. But when we remember that every vibration echoes outward, we can choose differently. We can respond with calm, with clarity, with measured presence. That choice not only reshapes the situation in the moment, but also reverberates invisibly across the larger field. This is vibrational ethics, understanding that every gesture, however small, becomes a note in the universe's music, and we alone decide the tone we leave behind. True awakening does not occur in the isolation of theory. It happens on the ground of everyday life. It shows itself in how we treat those who cross our path, in how we navigate challenges, and even in the way we speak to ourselves in private. The ethics of awakening reminds us that it is not enough to know that everything is energy. We must live as if each instant were an opportunity to emanate the highest frequency available to us. Here lies the synthesis. Knowledge without ethics can easily create imbalance, but knowledge joined with love becomes a wellspring of healing. Each of us carries a spark that can either illuminate or extinguish. Life's invitation is clear. When you awaken, do not walk only for yourself. Walk as a beacon that helps others find their way. Greatness is not found in accumulating power, but in sharing light. That is the true purpose of awakening. Closing and final invitation. We have arrived at the end of this journey, but like every true crossing, the end is never really an ending. It is simply a portal opening into new beginnings. The music of the universe does not stop here. It continues to vibrate quietly within you, waiting for your attentive listening. What we have shared together has not been mere knowledge, but a call to consciousness. It is an invitation to recognize that life is not only a backdrop, but an ongoing dialogue between you and the cosmos itself. Throughout these chapters, we witnessed how light and matter dance together, how the void is full of invisible energy, how strings vibrate at unseen frequencies, and how consciousness is an active force in creation. Each metaphor, each reflection, was a thread woven into this greater tapestry. And now the question that remains is this: how will you choose to use what you know? Life does not demand final answers, but it does ask for daily attitudes, small gestures that gradually transform existence into a path of awakening. If this message has touched you, remember the simple yet powerful gesture that can expand this current even further. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. This is not just a way to support the work. It is a conscious act of joining this vibrational network. Every action you take adds to the field. Every click is like a musical note that resonates in harmony with thousands of other consciousnesses walking toward the same light. I also invite you to share this content with someone you feel may need a spark of hope or clarity. Think of it as a quantum act of service. What resonates in you might become the seed that awakens another. Just as one instrument can inspire and uplift the rest of an orchestra, your choice to share can expand collective harmony, touching hearts that might never have found their way here on their own. May every word planted here turn into lived experience in your daily life. May the silence of the void give you courage to trust. May the dance of light bring you clarity. And may the metaphor of music inspire you to tune your awareness each day. This is not distant theory. It is living practice. With every breath, you already have the chance to vibrate in alignment with the greater order. This is the essence of true alchemy, transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary through present awareness. And so, we bring this encounter to a close. But carry with you the certainty that you never walk alone. There is an invisible symphony sustaining your existence, and you're an inseparable part of its melody. Continue exploring, continue expanding, continue vibrating. In the next videos, we will dive even deeper into this journey together. Until then, may your life be music, may your presence shine like light, and may your consciousness echo the living harmony that sustains the entire universe. And so, see you in the next video, with more information on everything that involves growing, evolving, transforming, and manifesting. See you soon.